Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to episode 54 of the Prosperous Yogini podcast. I am now officially into the second year of this podcast. Thank you to those of you that joined me live last week from the cupboard under the stairs, a bit like Harry Potter. It was so lush to do an episode with some of the listeners there and to answer your questions. Like, I love all of my podcast episodes. I love the solo ones, the interview ones, the ones like today where I'm coming up with a subject that I've been wanting to talk about for ages, actually. But I really, really, really love the ones that are inspired by you, the ones where I'm asking your questions. And I know from what you guys feedback to me, they're the ones that you find most useful as well. Now, while I'm on that topic of me answering your questions, I think the reason why you guys love that so much is because I'm coming at you with 14 plus years of experience of being a yoga teacher and running a yoga business. I am so unique in the sense I have both of those hats. I can help you with your teaching skills. I can help you feel more confident with your teaching. I offer specialist training in yin, pregnancy and postnatal yoga and shorter CPD courses. I'm an ex-secondary school teacher. I did that for 12 years. And in that role, I actually set up the PGC music skit course for Cornwall. I literally have been in education and training for over 22 years. It is well over that now. I've stopped counting. So I can really, really help you with the teaching side of things, the skills of being a teacher, full stop. But I've also been running my business for 14 years and I've navigated huge, huge seas of change. I mean, this is like, you always think, oh, there's these big changes in my lifetime. What it is that we're constantly evolving and constantly expanding. Nothing is ever constant. But I've gone from that era where nobody had a website and we all invited people to our offers with a flyer, from websites to social media, through COVID, online. I've had studios, I've done weekly classes, workshops, worked on retreats. I've got an online business. I've pretty much had experience of everything, and I've really get the business side of things, particularly from the perspective of a yoga teacher, because I get it, guys. Like, we signed up to do this because we love yoga and we want to help people and we want to teach yoga, and we want that within that mix there to be a fair energy exchange, a fair balance. So when I'm going out and delivering whatever it is I'm delivering, that I am earning some money for this. Because why, like, there has to be an energy exchange. Like, most of us can't work for free, or worse, most of us can't do this and pay to do it, lose money. So I really do get that feeling that the business side of things can be quite frustrating because it's not what you signed up to do. And from lots of sort of like training on my behalf, spending time researching, reading, working with mentors and coaches myself, I've come to the conclusion with the business side of things that it's actually not as hard as you think. It's not rocket science. We can often believe it's really, really hard. We can often get frustrated before we even start. Sometimes I think we're actually told it's hard by certain business gurus, etc. So we think we need to give them large sums of money so they can help us. And I've come to the conclusion that if you are just so energetically in the vibration of you, this is why I'm here. This is what I want to do. This is driven by my why, my sole purpose. And you show up in that energy. The business side of things is actually relatively straightforward. You might have to practice it, but come on, you know that. You roll out your mat. You roll out your mat and practice. When you were very new to yoga and someone had said to you, right, you're going to be a yoga teacher, the first time you went to a yoga class, can you imagine like how that would feel? You'd be like, oh no, like no way could I understand any of that. But over time and practice, you've got to a place where you're a yoga teacher. It's the same in the business side of stuff. Honestly, time, practice, a little bit of dedication, even if there's some resistance. Oh my God, isn't it just like our yoga practice? Then you can get to the understanding the business stuff, and more importantly, understanding what works for you, and then show up how you want to show up. You guys know I love showing up on my podcast. That's why I'm in episode 54, my second year. And today, let's get on to that. Today, I'm going to talk to you about scarcity and abundance. I've mentioned these mindset, scarcity mindset, abundance mindset before. I've definitely talked about it on the podcast, but I've never kind of broken it down into what they are, what it might sound like, how we might navigate the scarcity versus abundance mindset, and what it might mean for us. So first of all, a scarcity mindset. Scarcity is just basically a belief that there isn't enough for all of us. Now, we're going to apply this to our yoga business, right? But we can apply it to other things. There's not enough food for everyone. There's not enough money for everyone. There's not enough housing for everyone. Complete fear that there's not enough. And out of that fear, we get graspy. We try to make sure that we're okay. And if we see someone else having success, someone else having X, we respond negatively to that because we believe, well, if they've got that, I can't have it. That is scarcity mindset, just a total belief built around fear that there's just not enough for us all. Okay, now what it might look for us as yoga teachers is there are too many yoga teachers in my area. There are too many yoga teacher training courses. Yoga has been diluted, has been lost because there's so many people practicing and teaching yoga and so many training courses, retreats out there, people who are teaching yoga that aren't real yoga teachers. There's just too many yoga teachers, and any new teacher training course that pops up gotta be a bad thing because they're training more yoga teachers. And you look around your area and perhaps like there's a new teacher turned up or a couple of new teachers, you're like, there's so many yoga teachers in my area now. Or you've just trained to be a yoga teacher and you've started to pay attention, you've started to focus on the yoga teachers in your area, and you're like, oh, there's so many yoga teachers in my area, there isn't room for me. This is all scarcity mindset. Now, I've experienced this. Like, I definitely have felt at times like, oh, there's loads of people teaching yoga. There's, for example, I'll give you an example. Like, when I taught pregnancy and postnatal yoga in St Agnes, it's quite a small Cornish village, and a couple of times during that phase, that 12-year period of my life, like there would be a new teacher come and teach pregnancy yoga, or someone would offer another mum and baby group. Maybe it wasn't even yoga related, and I would have a reaction of, oh, they're going to take students away from me. Oh, there's only a limited amount of pregnant women. There's only a limited amount of postnatal women. And if there's 2 of us, 3 of us, 4 of us in this small area, then there isn't enough for me. People are going to come and take women away from my classes. There is an example of scarcity mindset that I've 100% had. I've experienced it from another teacher when I started my yoga teacher training course. When I first set up my foundation teacher training course, 2 teachers, like in person, came to me and said, really surprised you're doing that. There's so many teachers in the area now. Aren't you worried if you train more yoga teachers that you're going to affect your class numbers? And very difficult to respond to that because, you're like, here you are, setting up your first foundation teacher training course, which I won't lie is no easy feat. It's a big effort. It takes a lot of courage, mindset, and hard graft to get yourself to a place where you're like, I'm going to run a foundation teacher training course. Here it is. Would you like to come? To have a couple of people turn around and say that to you, and you have that projected back onto you, and you're like, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. It is difficult. And the reality is me and these teachers that said this to me, they had the opportunity, they had the right to train to be a yoga teacher. That is available to everyone. That fear is just scarcity. And we as human beings, and like this is a deep topic, whether we are fed the fear by conventional wisdom as a form of control, or whether it is a natural human reaction. And I think probably like my sun's sign is Libra, and I am always balanced view. I always step back and try and see this both sides of the coin, can really understand this fear of, oh, Amy's training more yoga teachers. Those 2 teachers, they're still teaching, they've still got really successful classes. I've been running yoga teacher training courses in Cornwall for 4 years now. There are, I think, 3 other main trainers that also run foundation teacher training courses in Cornwall, and it just seems to be that there seems to be enough for us all. And this is where we begin to use our thought work. So here is what my belief is. My belief is there's too many yoga teachers, there's too many teacher training courses, yoga's been completely diluted by all these people coming into the profession. and doing these 200-hour training courses over 3 weeks in Bali. Love to go to Bali for 3 weeks. But, you know, these are some of the comments. I'm not saying I think this, I'm not saying you think this, but these are some of the comments I do see sometimes on social media. And these are some of the things that, you know, sometimes do pop into my mind. There's all of these people coming in and teaching yoga around me. That must mean that there's just my business is over. There's not enough room for me. Now, I've been teaching for 14 years, like, and people have popped up and run classes alongside me. I had a yoga studio, right? And the whole business model was that we had Pilates and yoga teachers coming in every day, morning, noon, and night to run classes. And there was literally, in the small village of St. Agnes in Cornwall, there literally was enough for us all. So, of course, when we're thinking about when we might run our classes, let's say we're looking at an area that's quite busy with yoga teachers, and perhaps if we're teaching a like a style of yoga like pregnancy yoga, where there is a finite amount of women, it would make sense, business sense, to put yourself on a different day, put yourself at a different time, because then you'll be appealing to other you know, a different demographic. So let's say there's a Tuesday night pregnancy yoga class and you want to start a pregnancy yoga class. Well, can you run it on a Thursday night? Could you run it on a Saturday morning? Get it on a different time. And that's how I used to manage the studio. I used to, like, you know, everyone was welcome, all styles. It didn't matter if people were doing similar things. Lots of Pilates teachers as well, lots of vinyasa classes. But I tried to structure the timetable so different things were happening on different days. That said, I ran my toddler Friday morning class for many, many years alongside a toddler ballet class in the same building as my studio. And we both had full classes. Like, there literally is room for us all. But scarcity mindset sets us into an energy of fear. Okay, now let's set aside that might be something that we've been conditioned into. Let's set that aside and think more about our beautiful brain, how it actually works. The primal part of our brain is completely hardwired to keep us safe. And if we feel that there's not enough, if we have a belief that there's not enough, then our reaction to that will be, okay, this could be dangerous, because if there wasn't enough food and if there wasn't enough water and there wasn't any available shelter, then I would die, right? So in terms of my yoga classes, if I feel fear that there's too many yoga teachers and not enough people to fill all these classes, and my beautiful brain is going to have a reaction that is like, okay, this is bad. This is bad. Your class numbers are going to come down. You're going to have to teach somewhere else. You're going to have to give up being a yoga teacher, because you know, I don't want you to fail and I don't want you to suffer. Okay. So that's why I think we need to acknowledge, because there's the whole scarcity versus abundant mindset is that you should just come out of scarcity and be into this abundant mindset. I'll talk about abundance in a minute. And I feel like, let's be a little bit more compassionate, that human beings, we have a tendency to do this. We, as I say to those in my mentorship program who are like, I'm worried what people might think. And I'm like, look, like, or I go onto their homepage and their homepage is just like a whole load of stuff about them and their qualifications. And I'm like, look, right, you got to understand that we're pretty selfish human beings. We kind of only care about ourselves. And when we're coming onto your yoga website, we want to know how you can help us. We want to know what's in it for us. And you've got to understand that our fear of missing out and losing out and then not being enough for us all, I think, is a relatively normal human reaction. Okay. And I really am quite passionate about letting myself be human, because if I try not to, it's just a complete disaster. So yes, absolutely. Do I still have moments where I look around and probably fall into that compare and despair? It's definitely, this is all tied into compare and despair. Yeah, looking around. And the thing is, you'll be looking for it, right? let's go to you're starting a new yoga class in a certain area. You're going to go looking for what yoga's happening there. You might be following teachers. I bet you on Instagram primarily follow yoga teachers, and then you're like, oh, there's yoga teachers everywhere. But you've created that reality. You've just followed yoga teachers on Instagram. So when you scroll, all you see is yoga teachers. If you're focusing, what we focus on expands. So you've got to just know that all of these things are going on. You're going to naturally have this reaction because your brain wants to keep you safe. What you focus on expands. So if that's what you're focusing on, how many yoga teachers there are, how many yoga teacher training courses there are, then that's what you're going to find. Okay. And the response to that is going to be, well, there's not room for me. I mean, one of the great examples could be my online yin yoga teacher training course, right? I could very, very have easily gone, I could Google it, right? Google online yin yoga teacher training courses. There's probably 10.5 million. I mean, honestly, there are so many ways that you can train online in yin yoga. So I could have really easily have looked at that and had a reaction. Well, that's it. That's a saturated market. There's not room for me. I'm not going to do it. Now, that would have been a response. And this is where our mindset, our belief system, our thoughts become things. This is why your energy is everything. Your beliefs are everything. Your thoughts inspire your action or inaction. So here I am. I've looked, I thought, had a desire to create an online yin yoga teacher training course. I've gone and had a look. So I focused on what's around there, followed a few people who are offering yin yoga teacher training courses on Instagram. And all of a sudden, all I'm seeing is, Googled it, all of these online yin teacher training courses, all these people on Instagram having lots of success. And my response very naturally could be, well, there's just not room for me. This is a saturated market. That would be stupid for me to do. Okay. That's a scarcity. That's a wonderful example of a scarcity mindset and a reaction, but built out of fear. What if I fail? And look, there's evidence that I'm going to fail because there's already so much of this. The flick of the switch is, look, this is evidence that this is needed. Look how many people are having success doing this. I've got the skill set. I've got the knowledge to do this. I could do this too. I could tap into some of this. I could have a small slice of the pie. I'm not taking away from anyone else. There is room for us all. This is abundance mindset. I'm going to do it too. These guys are just lighting the way. These guys are just proving it possible. Yes, I'm super excited to get my online yin teacher training course out there. It is not easy to do this. It is not easy to do this. It's like, and this is the compare and despair. Sometimes I wonder if it's just, would have been better if I hadn't Googled it and just followed the whole, I'm going to create an online yin teacher training course because this is how I want to deliver my yin course. I've got all the subject knowledge, I've got the skills, and I've already got an online platform and an online business. So what a wonderful thing to create. So abundance mindset is the opposite of this scarcity mindset. Abundance says not only is there enough for us all, there's more than enough for us all. Like, we just need to tap into this. Now, just out of screen here, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to bring it onto screen, but I'll speak about it too. I recommend this book, guys, if you're kind of wanting to get your head around this whole scarcity versus abundance a little bit more, is The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. When I bought this book, actually didn't realize what it's about. You might look at this and think this is completely about making money. Lynn Twist had spent, I think, the majority of her life working to reduce poverty, global poverty, global food poverty. Very, very interesting book, because the conclusion in this book is there isn't food shortage globally. It's our scarcity, it's our fear that is creating it. It's very interesting. Whereas if we were in a vibration of there's enough for us all, there's a space for us all to thrive, then we would have a different response. That's a really good book to read. So that is The Soul of Money, Lynn Twist. Yes, it is about money, but it's actually about and her endeavors to end food scarcity and food poverty globally. Really interesting book. Really shifted my mindset on all of this. To be honest, it woke me up to all of this. I think I understood it on a superficial level, and I read that book, and it's able to give you like a sense of it globally and also a sense of it out of the yoga world. I think it's really useful for us as yoga teachers to just step out of the yoga world and see the bigger picture. I like to think of it now as that scarcity is a vibration of fear. Yeah. And we're going to have fear responses. We're human, but I don't want to be in that vibration. That is a low vibe, energetic vibration that is never going to bring me to where I want to be. Okay. I can't, suppress the fear. I can't ignore the fear. I can acknowledge the fear, and then I can begin to work through it and bring myself into the vibration of love. And this is where I see abundance. But one of the challenges I have with this abundant mindset, which is I'm saying to you guys, like literally, there is room for every single person who has the endeavor, who has the desire to be a yoga teacher. And whether they're working part-time or full-time, whether it's one class or they're owning a studio or it's a full-time business, there's room for all of us to do what we want as yoga teachers and to make as much money as we want. But that is quite a hard concept if you are really into scarcity. If you are really feeling right now that my class numbers are low, I'm struggling to fill this retreat because there's all these retreats, it is so hard for you to go from that place, and obviously the physical manifestation, the physical reality of that, to a place where you are like in complete faith and trust that there is enough for you all, and energetically things are just going to work out for you. This is where you need to go, right? But it is really hard, really, really hard. Okay. And I think this is something that isn't acknowledged when we talk about scarcity and abundance. We talk about manifestation, just like how hard it truly is to get it into that energy of it is all working out for me. There is enough for us all. When I see someone else out there smashing it, when I see someone else thriving, when I see someone else with full yoga classes, a full retreat, selling an online course and having like 5-6 figure launches, when I see this, it's not that they're doing something I can't do. It's not that they're better than me. It's not that because they've had that I can't. They literally are leading the way and showing me the energy of abundance. It ain't easy. Okay. And this is why I really love the mid ground, the middle. Homeostasis. Yeah, I talk about that a lot when I'm teaching. Sufficiency. So sufficiency brings me to a place where I just know that there is enough for me. There's enough for everyone. It's okay if new teachers come in. In fact, it's a good thing if new teachers come in. It's a good thing if there's more opportunity for people to come to yoga classes. It's a good opportunity. It's good if there are more yoga teacher training courses. It's really good if these teacher training courses are delivered in different ways. So like if I take the example of Cornwall, like there's a couple that are fully in person, 12 months. There's one which is like sandwiches like a week together in person, then delivers it rest online, and then another week together at the end of that. There's me where I've got this hybrid mix model where you can come online or come in person. We mix up in person stroke online live weekends with self-paced study and a monthly teacher class. Like we're all doing it differently. Basically, we're all doing it really, really differently. And it is so good that we're all doing it, because then people have got the opportunity to choose a teacher and choose a way that it's been delivered that matches them. So I'm just so pleased that we're all doing this. There's a local teacher who started running a in-person teacher training course, and she's not running it until next April. And I was on her newsletter and she sent out that it was full. I replied to that teacher to say, I just am so pleased, so excited for you that it is full. Of course, I also then said, well, if it's full this soon, then I reckon next time round, you need to charge more, do it slightly differently, because you have sold out so quickly. Just shows you how much people wanted it, how much it was needed. I was so excited for this teacher. It didn't once make me think, oh, she's running an in-person yin training course, well, that's going to affect my numbers. I never had that thought. She's so different to me. Her subject knowledge, her background, her experience, her relationship with the teaching of yin yoga is so different to mine. I was so pleased that she got a training course out there. And when I saw that it was full, I was like, yes, I'm so pleased for you, because this is what happens when we get into the energy of sufficiency, energy of there being enough for us all. out of compare and despair and into compare. Oh, great. That person's doing this. That's what I want to do. They're having success. They're leading the way for me. None of this is easy. None of this is easy. And I would say that scarcity is a belief, right? It is a belief that, and we're very, very attached to our beliefs, right? And when we're looking to break down beliefs, systems, habits, patterns, thoughts, okay, and a belief is just a thought we've continued to think for a long time, we've got to reframe them through thought work. And thought work looks at, okay, so what's the evidence of this? So let's just turn to nature. Like in nature, if nature is left alone to do its thing, yeah, there's abundance in nature. We've just gone through the summer solstice. Right now, everywhere I go, there's flowers, there's blooming. There just feels like there's energy everywhere. Of course, nature goes through phases where things die away and we have periods of rest. And then we have periods of regrowth and expansion, right? We are the same. We are energetically the same. Our yoga businesses are energetically the same. Okay. But nature, when left alone, teaches us that there is enough for everyone. There is abundance in nature. And the universe just doesn't work like this, that there would be too many yoga teachers to meet the demand. So then when I say that, you're like, yeah, look, come on, Amy, there are so many yoga teachers. Have you seen Instagram? Have you seen how many people are starting yoga classes on Instagram? Have you Googled yoga teacher training courses? Have you seen how many yoga teacher training courses? Come on, Amy. Okay, so here we are. Here is thought work. I know these thoughts come up for you. All right, then. So I've written the world is a big place. The world is a big place. I Googled it. The global population is 8 billion. Okay, so all right. 8 billion people, not everyone on the planet right now wants to do yoga. I hear you. Did you know, and Google this, did you know that from 2010 to 2021, there's been a 64%, according to Google, 64% increase in the popularity of yoga. 64%. Well, no wonder there are more yoga teachers in your area, and no wonder there are more online yoga offers. No wonder there are more yoga teacher training courses, because we're just expanding to meet the demand. Okay, that is the universal law of abundance. That is what we're in. Okay, but we misread it as, oh, there's too many yoga teachers. I know it's hard. Okay, and I know it's really, really hard, but I have brought myself to this place where I know that when I celebrate other people's successes, when I see new teachers starting classes and I wish them well, and I see someone starting a new offer, a retreat, a training course, and I wish them well, and I know that their success has absolutely, as my mum would say, sweet Fanny Adams to do with my success, because we're just all in our own lane, then this is a place where we all thrive. Can't remember, I think it was Mel Robbins. I really love Mel Robbins. She's on Instagram, follow her. I love her so much, like a life coach. Some of the stuff she said is golden. And the other week she said, there isn't a place, there isn't a long-term success where just a few, where there's just success for few. When we're in a world where there's room for us all to thrive, that's the world that we want to get to. And I really want to be in that vibration as a yoga teacher. I want everyone else who wants to be a full-time yoga teacher, wants to work part-time, wants to have a full class, wants to make some money off all of their training, all of their passion. I want every single person to have success. I want every single yoga teacher to be out there smashing it. I want yoga teachers to all be tapping into what is a multi-billion pound industry. I want every yoga teacher to have the opportunity to make a fair living, fair income. And it really does come from us. Picked up an interesting thread on one of the Facebook pages. Not very good on Facebook. I don't comment on Facebook pages, but lurk and lit them because it's quite interesting to see what people, often see this scarcity come up. And it was a thread about yoga teachers' pay, rising inflation. So in the UK right now, we've got high rates of inflation, high rates of cost of living. We've got public sector workers going on strike, asking the government to raise their pay in line with inflation. And obviously, yoga teachers were talking about this and comparing some very established teachers who've been teaching for a long time, like how, the hourly rate they were earning, etc., in like a private class or in a studio hadn't necessarily gone up that much, and how it's not fair that our pay hasn't gone up. The majority of yoga teachers work self-employed. We set our own prices. Yes, if we're going into gyms, slightly different, but the majority of us, and even if it's just part of the way we bring our money into the world, into our business, is we are setting our own prices. We are the only people responsible for putting up our prices, ensuring that we have matching rising inflation, rising costs with what we're charging people. Okay. Now, scarcity tells us, well, look, no one's got any money anymore. No one's going to be able to pay it. Money's going up for everyone. I can't put my prices up. I get that, right? Well, if you don't have to, if you can afford to, and you feel like you're in a place of abundance, that the energy is in balance between the work that you're doing and what you're giving out and what you're getting back, then fine, leave things alone. But for so many teachers on this page, they were really, really struggling to make it worth their while being a yoga teacher. And the upshot was they were thinking of stopping. So who loses out? Well, they lose out, of course, because they wanted to be a yoga teacher. They loved the yoga. They want to help people. But then all the people, the 64% increase in popularity of people that want to go to have yoga, they're missing out too. Like, your students are there. Don't make assumptions about your students' financial situation. Okay. Come into a vibration of literally there's enough for us all. Food, money. This is hard, guys. Energy. Let's stay off those big topics and go back to there is literally enough people, enough of your tribe. And this is why it's good for you to get really, really clear about why I'm doing this, who I serve, how I can help them. Talk to that tribe, call them out. Know that not everyone's going to like you. Fine, great, because I know that my tribe is out there, and you'll be amazed at how things shift around for you. I want to end today with my little girl last week got, to get like star of the week. She got like the star of the week, and her star of the week was celebrating her friends' successes. And I was like, that was the best star of the week she has ever had. And I was like, if my 8-year-old girl can be in a place of abundance where she sees her friends having success, whether that be sporting success, academic success, and she can celebrate that, knowing that we've all got something to contribute to the world. We've all got something unique to bring. Okay, I'm not going to be good at everything, but I've got something unique to bring to the world. And I can celebrate my friends' uniqueness and my friends' achievements, knowing that that doesn't impact on me. If my little girl can be in that vibration, then so can I too. And maybe she can inspire you to do the same. So abundance, if abundance is too much, think sufficiency. If either of those words aren't working for you, how can I respond from a place of love? How can I be in the vibration, the energy of love? Because it's such a powerful energy. It's such a powerful vibration. It is so much higher, so much more powerful than the vibration of fear and scarcity. So how, at the very least, can I move myself into that higher vibration? And how might that impact my yoga business? How might that impact all areas of my life? All right, my darlings, there is episode 54. Going right back to my spiel at the beginning. Get yourself on the name. Get yourself on the wait list. Sorry, get your name on the wait list. I'll put the link in the show notes to my mentorship program. Doors are reopening in the early autumn. Currently having a little bit of a very exciting shift. The offer's going to change slightly. One of the things is it's moving to 100-hour training program. So you'll be able to get 100-hour training credits. And I know if you've done your 200 hours, people love getting that extra 100 hours, but that's one of the things that is happening with it. Get your name on the wait list, okay? So you can be ready to come and join me, because like all of this stuff I talk about on my podcast, yeah, you can get it for free every week, right? But it is so hard to do this alone, and it's so much easier if you come into the energy. Just going to come into my energy. I've got you, okay, and I will help you I will help you with all aspects of your business. I will help you feel more confident in your teaching. It's all going to start with this energy. It's all going to start with this mindset. So do get your name on the wait list because it's changing very slightly. And one of the tiers is going to be limited in numbers. So if you really want to work with me and you want to work with me one-to-one and you want me in your pocket for 6 months, definitely get your name on the wait list. And that's it for today. All right, my lovelies. I will see you all next week.